but it's lovely to see you again.
And you.
Yeah,
thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, it was coming up to 2 years since the last conference,
and
unfortunately COVID got in the way of the one for this year.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's there. So what I'd like to do, and with the hope that we get a few more people come in as we get started, is just start by asking a few questions, well, for which you've had sight of before. This will help us get the message out to our community a little bit.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit more about your experiences with adults and children who have Smith-Magenis syndrome?
Yes, so I was first invited to provide a creche facility 10 years ago. So I've known you guys for 10 years, and it was I was warned by the board that was involved at the time that it's not like any other creche operated, and Lisa, who warned me of this, was absolutely right. It's not like any creche I've ever operated. However, it absolutely lit my fire of passion and commitment to looking after children, young people, and now adults with complex needs or additional needs. That started my journey. And since then, I've operated creches for a numerous amount of a wide range of needs and syndromes that I've never heard of before. And it's an amazing experience. I've loved every second of it. And to have, it was the most we had was 67 SMSs in one go, which is no mean feat. You know, from newborn, well, there wasn't any newborn, but for very young age, right up to adulthood. So quite proud of that achievement.
It is. I think that's the most we've had of any SMSs together in one place at one time. Now, there's something that's dawned to me on those conference weekends over the last couple of occasions. This is picking up on your experience as well as working individually with some of the SMS children and adults. And that's looking at the behaviour, because we've seen meltdowns and challenging behaviour within the syndrome. But when we come to this conference weekend, we see very few incidents. So do you see a pattern there that when our SMSs are together, they're more settled, almost like a pride of lions?
To begin with, yes, to begin with. Yes, very much like a pride of lions, and very much sort of oh, hello. Jeez, how are you? Were you hiding? I can see you. Boom. Oh.
She said, go on, say it again now.
Right there, whoa.
From the conferences. Remember Jayne?
I've got my pink t-shirt on today, so you probably recognise. Oh, I like your oh, very good. You've got on your t-shirt. We're just talking about lions. Yeah, so that's what we observe. The children, young people and adults will sit and observe us, and they're watching to see, they're waiting and watching to see if they can see any signs of, I suppose, weakness or fear. And because we operate with such a huge amount of love and care and nurture, that doesn't come across. So it does settle groups to begin with. Through the day, though, once everybody is used to the routine and what's going on, we are then pushed and our boundaries are tested. And there are certain individual children and young people that we've learned triggers already, so that we can avoid and distract and use all the techniques that we're trying to use. I'd like to ask Lucie as well what she feels, having attended the last 3 creches with me and predominantly looking after the adults, young people and adults.
I think it is. I think you're right in saying that the young people do settle in. They have a settling in period, like a little honeymoon period. I think as the day wears on, I think anxiety sometimes does increase of where are the parents and what's happening, and you know what's happening next. And but over the last few years, we have really picked up on different triggers for different people, and developed over the years, you know, certain relationships with the children and young people that they remember us from year to year. And I think that has helped. So the first year that we started, I think I was there 10 years ago in the first one, compared to the one that we did most recently, because of having a working relationship and a knowledge of the children and young people, and they knew us, that did massively help as well.
Yeah, for sure. I just second that, especially, you know, when we are remembered straight away, it helps to eliminate any anxieties that they'll have. And also the fact that you use the same venue, huge benefit for everybody.
Yeah, I'm used to my son spotting any differences on you're wearing your hair different, it's slightly different colour, it's different length.
Yeah.
That is really common, with years of gaps between them seeing you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now looking at the current situation in Wynne, we're in the COVID lockdowns once again. For our community, there is one really big concern, and we talk about hug and be hugged. We have an affectionate group of individuals who have Smith-Magenis syndrome. So how are you managing this at the moment with any that you have in?
So effectively, we complete a risk assessment for each client, as you know, and it's an ongoing risk assessment, a group of dynamic risk assessments for every level, every time we care for a young person or an adult with any kind of needs. So we are wearing masks where we're able to, and where we're not able to, for example, we do have one client who wearing a mask is just not an option, and social distancing isn't an option in care. We are ensuring that our PAs, our workers, our support workers are all tested weekly, and we'll be moving to bi-weekly tests as well going forward. And any symptoms, any signs of any unwellness is identified immediately. And we have a network, a team, rather than just one person for the family. So yes, they have a consistent PA or a consistent care worker, but we have a team that can step in if needed. We cannot care 2 meters away. It can't be done in most circumstances. But we will be wearing PPE where we can. And like I say, any symptoms, any evidence of the virus, and it's a no. And another worker will step in. Lucie, do you want anything to add to that?
I think we have got everything in place regarding PPE and risk assessment, but with regards to individuals that do understand, and PECS and Makaton, we use constant reassurance and prompts of space and the now next and then board. So we've got them in place where we can show if people are trying to hug, we can remind them of the situation in a calm way so that they don't feel rejected, but we're also keeping them safe at the same time.
Sometimes it's unavoidable.
Yeah.
And it happens before you can react. Or the rugby tackle sometimes.
Yeah. And then you just try and reduce the length where possible.
Yes.
Okay, sticking with the COVID situation, because I know this causes quite a lot of anxieties with some of our parents as to, should I go to a respite location? Should I go into an activity? Should I have my personal assistant and spend time with me? Should I stay away? Should I go into school? A whole lot of questions that are being asked within our community. So from your perspective, or trying to address that particular point, is you would have seen changes in the way the business is delivered. A lot of attractions being closed down, where there's day services or workshops that you may have been supporting in, they would have been closed or been severely restricted. How has the shape of your provision actually changed with COVID? Well,
we're delivering care in home, and outside, in terms of outside walks and parks where possible, where safe to do so, which isn't always. So it's literally in people's homes and in back gardens. We will talk quite regularly about different activities that we can bring in, you know, to try and to keep our young people and adults, you know, entertained, engaged, stimulated, you know, and not bored, not anxious, overly anxious, you know, as Lucie said, reassurance all the time. So it's changed significantly. The paperwork and admin that goes with it has also changed. You know, keeping logs of everything, you know, is part of the job that we do anyway. It's just a different set and a different spreadsheet we've got to fill in today, for example. So yeah, it has changed dramatically. Lucie, do you want to add anything to that? I
have found that whilst people can be very nervous about introducing PAs or bringing PAs within the home during COVID, that when attractions or colleges and schools have been shut down, adding a PA into the home can bring another set of routine that can bring structure and boundaries. So when you've got a PA that comes in and you have activities that are pre-set out by the person or by the family, it gives that, again, the now and next. This is what we're going to do now, this is what we'll do next. And by keeping individuals stimulated and engaged and reducing boredom, that can massively reduce challenging behaviour and frustrations that would be showed if they were at home with no other engagement other than family. And then it is also providing families with much needed respite, even if it is just to sit in another room or go for a walk or drive in the car. Just a couple of hours away can sometimes just refresh and regroup everybody.
How do you approach it to give families reassurance in these circumstances?
Families are very nervous around COVID, but by us providing and ensuring that we have the PPE in stock and on hand at all times, as well as the weekly tests, we keep very small teams. We have one person or maybe two, depending on the hours or the needs. And then we have a contingency in place. So should one person develop symptoms and go off, another person can drop in. And so far, touch wood, we haven't gone without providing care. It has been difficult at times, but the reassurance is just daily, reassuring the parents and then being able to see that we are aware of all the updated government legislation, following it and keeping everybody safe and happy as we can.
Yeah,
quite impossible at times, but
from my part, it's important that I respond immediately or as soon as any announcement is made. So all of my team and my families that we look after have heard from me, whether it's to say, bear with me guys while I read through the next lot of publications, the next lot of guidance, I'll be with you, or just a reassurance to say, don't worry, I've anticipated these changes, we have a plan in place. It's just that responsiveness every time an announcement is made. And as long as my team are confident in me navigating us through this and confident in Lucie, that comes out and shines through to the family as well, cascades down. So yeah, that's how we do it.
Okay, I'm going to ask one last question and then I'll throw the floor open to anybody else who wants to come in and raise any point. If there is one tip that you could give to another care provider who's looking after somebody with Smith-Magenis syndrome, what would that be? And we can take COVID out of this one.
For me, it's expect the unexpected in a very good way, in a very positive way, but expect the unexpected. Yeah, Lucie?
I think any preconception that people may have from research or Google, it goes out of the window. You need to get to know that person. That person you're not going to find how to support that person on the internet or any research or training. Spend time with the person, get to know the person, and the next person is going to be completely different. And as soon as you know each person, you will be able to develop a good, happy relationship where, yes, you may have ups and downs, but it can be very positive and very productive on both parts.
Yeah, our strap line under our new strap line under our new logo, because we are rebranding at the moment, is going to read "Your Care, Your Way," and that's incredibly pertinent because every person, young person and adult we look after, every child, so unique. It doesn't matter what the diagnosis says. It's almost irrelevant in many cases. It's about the person, their needs, what they need, what they like, and what they want.
Okay, that's really good and appreciated. If anyone's watching this on Facebook, if you want to come across onto the Zoom link, you can carry on and become part of this discussion. What I'm now going to do is stop the live feed for Facebook, and I'm also going to put the recording on stop